A very warm welcome to all our viewers and welcome to a new episode of Africa Today, our show bringing you all the latest news related to the African continent. I'm Angie Meher joining you for today's edition of the show, and as usual let's kick away with a look at some of the news making the headlines, and beginning with, of course, Eid al-Fitr, or the smaller feast, which has many significant traditions in Egypt and in many African countries. We're talking about special songs and sweets and desserts, and gatherings are held to mark this very special event. We have more details in this report.
Eid al-Fitr, the smaller feast or the feast of celebrating at the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. People await the sighting of the moon of the next lunar month to celebrate the feast, a night full of cheerfulness, families gathering awaiting the announcement. Fireworks are on and special cookies are baked even days ahead, and the atmosphere is bright. In the early morning hours, Eid prayers are performed in open areas, and decorations and balloons fill streets and alleys for all the days of the feast. Ideas or gift money are offered to children as well as candies. Family visits are common, and sweets and delicacies made especially for the occasion are offered by and gifted to visitors. Delicacies that crown the smaller feast festivities in Egypt include kahk, which is special Eid biscuits, and ammonia biscuits. Then petit four, or soft-filled biscuits, as well as ghurayiba, especially made ghee and sugar mixed sweets. Topping these three delicacies is kahk. It is a small circular biscuit eaten across the Arab world to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Over the years, the kahk tradition was passed down from one generation to the other, and of course, no kahk in the world would beat your grandma's recipe. Kahk is covered with powdered sugar and can be stuffed with agamiya, a mixture of honey, nuts and ghee, locum, walnuts, pistachios or dates, or simply served plain. Baking kahk is a traditional and social activity in the region. Women of a village or neighborhood, Christian and Muslim alike, gather together to bake kahk, chat and swap stories and recipes. Second comes ammonia biscuits. Memories of this special scent biscuits is characteristic of the last days of Ramadan in preparation for Eid. Cutting the biscuits and shaping them with grandmoms and then baking them to the perfect color brings about warm and happy memories.
Welcome back. We're now delighted to be joined over the telephone by our guest for the afternoon, Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, the journalist. Mr. Abdellatif, it's a very good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, yeah.
And a very happy Eid to you, Mr. Abdellatif. And let's start by talking a bit about some of the most significant Eid traditions in Egypt.
As you know that Egypt is one of the main countries in the area and the Middle East and the Muslim world that has a historical and a significant traditions during 8 days. As you know that first of all, all the Egyptians, women, children, and men, and so on, and the youths go to Eid pray, and at the same time, as you know, that they gathered in the main
Squares.
fields. Squares and ground fields and so on.
Yes.
And they celebrated not only religiously but even with their children in this time. You know that also we have another celebration concerning the inside homes when they prepared before a week or a week before for the Eid foods and so on, and also at the same time, as you know, they visited all the picnic places.
Yes.
And also the zoo, the animal zoo, in all different parts of the Egyptian provinces. Let me say that all the foreigners here in Egypt, especially the new arrivals of tourists and so on, they are accustomed at the same time to celebrate with the Egyptians the festivals and the ceremony of Eid al-Fitr.
Absolutely, Mr. Abdellatif. And it's very, very interesting, as you said, Eid is time for all the familial gatherings and for certain traditions that not just happen in Egypt or Arab countries, but in other African countries as well. Could you tell us a bit about, the similarities and differences between African and Arab countries when it comes to how they celebrate Eid?
Let me say that the Egyptian traditions and also the Egyptian history of Eid are released and in many different African states,
yes.
Especially the countries that they send their youths and their students to be taught in Al-Azhar University and so on. And as you know that many African states like Nigeria, like Senegal, like Cote d'Ivoire, like many countries, they are committed at the same time to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. And at the same time, as you know, that every country have or has a characteristics for the celebrations. You can imagine that the Nigerian, for example, or people in Cote d'Ivoire, they are celebrating, but everyone has his own characteristics. Maybe they are accustomed to eating and meat and so on, but at the same time, it is, we can say, it is a general traditions of Eid al-Fitr in all the different countries and Africa and Asia, even in Europe itself.
Absolutely, Mr. Abdellatif. Now also, Eid celebrations have also evolved a bit and changed over the years, but some things have remained the same. For example, Eid is time to remember the poor or the less fortunate. How do you elaborate on this?
As you know that during the last 4 or 5 years, maybe some traditions are completely changed. This is, of course, due to the coronavirus, for example, and so on. But after the stability and the health stability in the world, the people are so encouraged to participate on all different aspects and with their traditions in Eid itself. This is a chance, and at the same time, as you know, that the atmosphere is completely changed than the 4 years ago.
Absolutely. Right, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it at there. Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, the journalist and our guest for the afternoon. Thank you very much, sir, for your time and your insight on today's edition of Africa Today. And still moving to more news from the African continent, an attack on a refugee camp in Sudan's North Darfur state killed 2 people and injured 7 others. A volunteer aid group in Darfur's area reported intense bombardments at the camp and explosive drones flying over the city. We have the details.
At least 2 people were killed in an attack on a refugee camp in Sudan's northern Darfur state. A source at the Saudi hospital in the state capital, El Fasher, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the attack on the Abu Shouk refugee camp also left 7 wounded. A volunteer aid group in El Fasher had earlier reported intense bombardments at the camp and explosive drones flying over the city. The Rapid Support Forces led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo has been battling the military led by Abdel Fattah al-Burhan since April 2023. The war has created what the United Nations describes as the world's worst hunger and displacement crises. More than 12 million people have been uprooted, tens of thousands killed, and a UN-backed assessment declared famine in parts of the country. While the military has reclaimed the capital Khartoum in recent days, Africa's third largest country remains essentially divided in two. The army holds sway in the east and north, while the RSF controls most of the vast Darfur region in the west and parts of the south. El Fasher is the only regional state capital the RSF has not conquered, despite besieging the city for months.
Against Egypt in the CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. We have the details.
South Africa made a statement of intent at the Total Energies CAF Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations with a thrilling 4-3 victory over Egypt in their Group B opener on Monday night at State Larbi Zouali in Casablanca. In a roller coaster contest packed with drama, penalties and a red card, it was Emily Witbui's 71st minute strike that ultimately sealed the win for Amajimbos, who now sit top of the group alongside Burkina Faso with 3 points. The match exploded into life almost immediately as South Africa took the lead in the first minute through Simfiwe Mlondo. Egypt responded quickly, equalizing 3 minutes later with a header from Anas Rushdi. The Pharaohs then surged ahead 3-1 with goals from Rushdi again and Hamza Abdelkarim in a dominant 20-minute spell. But South Africa rode back before the break. 2 penalties from Neo Boloko, the first in the 27th minute and the second just before half-time, levied the scores at 3-3 going into the interval. Both sides created chances in a tense second half, but it was Witbui who found the breakthrough, calmly finishing from the center of the box after a well-timed pass from Bolko. Egypt's misery was compounded in stoppage time when Omar Abdelaziz received a red card following a VAR review. The result sees South Africa join Burkina Faso, who earlier came from behind to beat Cameroon 2-1 at the top of Group B. The Amajimbos now turn their focus to a clash with Cameroon on Thursday, while Egypt will seek redemption against Burkina Faso.
Final sports report, ladies and gentlemen. We wrap up today's edition of Africa Today. You're in the company of myself, Anju Meher. Many thanks for watching.